Hi, I'm Mary Lou. My husband John and I, we are going plant-based. As we all know, when you do something new in life, there's that transition period, the learning curve that can be a little challenging. So as we were going through this learning curve, I thought, I should be documenting this. It might be fun and maybe help someone else through the learning curve of going plant-based. So in each video, I'll show a simple plant-based recipe. I'm going to focus on the tips and tricks that I've been learning along the way to make eating and cooking plant-based just a little easier.
These delicious juicy black beans poured over sweet potatoes come together for a hearty stick-to-your-ribs dish. These beans are versatile. They can be poured over any vegetable or grain to perk it up and turn it into a meal. I'm cutting my sweet potatoes into cubes, and I'm going to saute them in a nonstick pan using oat milk. I know that sounds a little crazy, but the oat milk starts to boil and bubble up, and as it reduces, it leaves a nice creamy base. I've added some salt and pepper to taste, and as you can see, as it reduces, it starts to get nice and creamy, and the potatoes start to crisp up a bit. You can cover them and leave them on low. Check them every 5 minutes or so to make sure that they're not sticking to the bottom. They'll start to brown up a bit, which is nice, but you can just add a little water or oat milk to keep them from sticking too much. Cover them up, let them saute, and they will come up nice and soft and juicy. All told, it's about 20 to 30 minutes. When they're done, put the cover on and set them aside. Now for the beans. I'm going to use a can of black beans. I have some ginger that I'm going to grate. I have a half a red pepper, a red onion. I'm using some diced tomatoes as well. But one of my tricks is to freeze things when I don't use all of it. This was a can of tomatoes I used the other day and froze them. So I'm going to set this can aside. I also have some spinach I'm going to chop up. And you can see the oat milk. I'm going to add a little oregano as well for flavor, along with salt and pepper. I'm grating the ginger, and as you see, I have a little bowl for all my garbage scraps. That's always helpful for the cleanup. I'm picky about my knives. They don't have to be expensive, but they do have to be sharp. There's nothing worse than a dull knife when you're trying to chop vegetables. I'm going to add all of these to my skillet, except for the spinach. I'll add that at the end and just let it wilt. But I'll chop it up and set it aside for now. I have a half a cup of oat milk that I'm going to pour into the skillet as we did with the potatoes. And let that saute till the peppers and onions are a little brown and that oat milk has reduced a bit. And I'm going to stay right on top of it for about 5 minutes. Then you'll begin to see how nice and creamy they get. This oat milk is a great trick. I'm going to use those diced tomatoes. Just put the frozen cube in there. My can of black beans. And about a teaspoon of oregano. I'll cover that up and put it on low. As it starts to stick, I'll add more oat milk, some pepper, and I'm adding a little cayenne pepper too to give it a little kick. And as you can see, you get a nice little creamy sauce in there. Keep an eye on it and feel free to add more oat milk if it gets too dry. I'm going to add my spinach now because everything's nice and hot. And I will just cover it up and shut off the heat. The potatoes are done, I'll put them in a serving dish and my beans in a separate one. These sweet potatoes and beans along with a salad make a hearty stick-to-your-ribs dish. I'd love to hear from you, so please leave a message in the comment section below and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos.